Welcome to the Echo Tips podcast.
Here's a sneak peek into what we're going to cover in this week's episode of the Echo Tips podcast.
I love The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. It depicts the view from his asylum room at Saint-Rémy-de-Provence.
Remember, everything characters say is made up.
Okay.
Our conversation was about the different parallel concepts in science fiction to the Terminator story and the idea of AI superintelligence taking over. We discussed various stories, including Star Trek, Terminator, The Matrix, Dune, iRobot, and Ender's Game.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Echo Tips podcast this week. It's good to have you all with us, and as you might have noticed from our prequel today, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with voices, and just not any type of voices. These are synthesized voices, text-to-speech engines. And so we're in particular kind of be looking at how that improves the whole experience with interacting with a virtual assistant like our A-ladies, and just kind of an interesting reflection on how once you add that more naturalness, proper pronunciation, and so many other things, it really kind of brings the whole experience more to life, along with the AI conversational capability. And so we're going to look at that today and just some kind of really dramatic improvements I've seen over the last year or two, and something I just experienced recently using the OpenAI ChatGPT app. And so we're going to look at a variety of voices today, maybe even go back to a cut from the recent Amazon event in September, and just kind of look at where these voices will be hopefully going soon on our A-Lady and other virtual assistants. But first off, I'd like to welcome our new listeners who are wondering what they got themselves into. We'd like to welcome you to the podcast. I am the host, David Ward. I'm an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill, based here in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Southwest Virginia, where we have our training center. And you'll find our podcast are little nuggetized episodes. We try to keep them 5 to 15 minutes long. We occasionally go a little longer when I'm really excited. There's something really in depth to cover. But we try to keep it somewhat short and sweet and actually demonstrate we talk about new hardware. We talk about skills and games and apps. We talked a lot about some of the new AI features, both from Amazon, how that's being integrated into skills or apps on the A-Lady by third-party vendors like Character AI and Splash Music and other places like games where it's being surfaced and things like that. And really, ultimately, what that means for us in the future, that conversational style, the more naturalness, and certainly not having a robot voice talk to you will dramatically improve that quality as well, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So it's good to have you here with us, new listeners, and you returning listeners as well. And because of both of you, we're well over 125,000 listens. It's probably closer to 30 now. I got to look at it sometime, but we're slowly in our 6th season now. Our numbers are climbing and climbing, so it's good to have you with us as well. Now, before we delve into this content in any sort of depth and kind of contrast some of these different voices and where things may be going, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then we will be right back. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Well, hello again, and welcome back to the podcast. As I mentioned, we're going to be looking at a variety of text-to-speech voices today, which kind of give us a hallmark or a foregleam, that's probably the better word, a foregleam of things to come hopefully on our A-ladies, our other virtual assistants, maybe in our phones and other devices, and how adding that more natural-sounding voice with better inflection and emotion, better pronunciation, things like that can really magnify the experience, not only by that simple means, but because the conversational style of the AIs, which are hopefully to be implemented and integrated, will also allow that. And that's something I might have mentioned in a past episode. In fact, I know I did when I talked about it was one of the strange side effects of me interacting with these like character AIs or even with the A-Lady beta, where I could just have a conversation. It was like I had to phrase it exactly right, turn on the light bulb, do blah, blah, blah reminder. I could really kind of have this kind of conversation about a movie and who were the main actors and what was this and that and was there a similar movie back in the same decade, and I could just have this kind of dialogue. And because of that free flow of conversation, I kind of got used to it. And when I left and had to actually interact with my A-Lady day in and day out, I kind of had to go back into robotic mode. You do this, then when I say remind, whatever. I had to, phrase my syntax had to really change and get much more strict. So, I hadn't noticed it. But yes, I had fundamentally started to it became like a lazy boy. I got relaxed into this kind of way of having a conversation with my assistant. Now, I think the speech quality is going to be an aspect that's really going to magnify that. Now, we're going to get right into demos here in a second, and then I'm also going to play a bunch of clips. We're going to do a lot of post-production on this, so you may hear us fast forward to some clips, and I'll have a little commentary in between to kind of delineate where some of the text-to-speech engines are really advancing, where we're stepping outside the mold of yesteryear and into a more AI-focused speech model here in the future, and that's really what we're encountering more. So first off, if you have an echo and hearing distance of my voice, you may want to shut its ears off. So I'll give you a chance to do that. All right, and so we're just gonna visit the typical voice now on the A-Lady and just kind of just as a run of the mill. Okay, this is what we're working with here. Okay, so I'm gonna turn her ears on here, and we'll just something simple. Alexa, what's the weather forecast for today?
In Roanoke, it's 39 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun. Today, you can look for mostly sunny weather, with a high of 64 degrees and a low of 39 degrees.
Okay, so that is just kind of the run-of-the-mill A-Lady we've had for a number of years. Now, I do believe I'm not using the American United States voices. I think that might be an Australian voice, but nonetheless, the quality and usage, syntax, emotionality, all kind of what we've come to expect. We're all pretty used to that kind of style voice. Now, I'm going to play in here a clip of what we're hoping to hear in the future, and this was from the Amazon event in September, of what they claimed the new text-to-speech engines coming to the A-Lady would sound like. Now, we haven't heard this yet in person on the beta. You've heard, if you look back at some of the past episodes over the last 30 to 60 days, you could hear me interacting with the A-Lady beta, but the voice is pretty much exactly the same. The dialogue and the capability of the back and forth is much improved, but the voice is still old and busted, just like what we just heard there. So here, let's go real quick to this Amazon clip, and this is what we're hoping to hear in the future.
In this case, I truly believe hearing is believing. So let me take you back in time to 2014 when we introduced Alexa. People were blown away with the quality of the voice, as was I. But this is how it sounded, so let's take a look.
I love The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. It depicts the view from his asylum room at Saint Remy de Provence just before sunrise, with the addition of an imaginary village. I like this painting because its vibrant use of colors captures a profound emotional intensity.
You already heard from Dave how Alexa sounds today, but here's the preview of what's going to come early next year.
I love The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. It depicts the view from his asylum room at Saint Remy de Provence just before sunrise, with the addition of an imaginary village. I like this painting because its vibrant use of colors captures a profound emotional intensity.
So as you could hear from that clip, a much more improved, kind of a nice contrast we've seen there between the voices and that really improved thing. I'm really looking forward to seeing that and the diversity, hopefully, of voices that they'll implement that in here in the future. That is Amazon's text-to-speech engine. So that's kind of what we're hoping to hear from, but I don't feel like we really need to just keep going back to that demo to kind of get an idea of where the market is moving. And so I'm really been surprised just in the recent years of where it has been going and how much it has been improved. Now, I will mention here that I have noticed some voices and improvements. Now, I'm not too sure if Character AI, which is a third-party vendor, is implementing I assume it's a text-to-speech engine that Amazon has, but its diction and syntax and voices do sound a little improved. So, or maybe that's just me because I'm tired of the old ones. But let's visit Character AI here real quick. Alexa, open Character AI.
You can continue your last conversation with librarian Linda by saying resume, or you can say, find someone new and I'll help you find someone interesting to talk to.
Resume. So that's just a standard A-Lady voice we just heard there.
Remember, everything characters say is made up.
Okay.
Our conversation was about the different parallel concepts in science fiction to the Terminator story and the idea of AI superintelligence taking over. We discussed various stories, including Star Trek, Terminator, The Matrix, Dune, iRobot, and Ender's Game.
Tell me the first two articles of the U.S. Constitution.
The first two articles of the U.S. Constitution are 1. All legislative power is vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. 2. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people of the several states.
Alexa, stop. Okay, so I just wanted to demonstrate that. Now, that may still be using one of the older architectures from Amazon. I don't know if Character AI, if that's what they're doing. I don't know really if the ability to develop skills and apps for the A-Lady allow them to implement their own text-to-speech engines. That would be kind of cool if it was. But definitely that voice seems a little more brighter and it has kind of a punchiness to it. But you still clearly hear the kind of roboticism. So I feel like that may reflect one of the older models, a very high quality older model, in some ways a lot brighter and snappier and punchier than the A-Lady voice, but nonetheless, it's kind of old. Now, if you've gone into Character AI and you've looked back at one of our previous episodes, it only, unfortunately, at this point has two voices, basically a male voice and a female voice to play the different roles of, say, like Albert Einstein versus you're talking to an AI, Cleopatra or something like that, which is ultimately disappointing because I feel like if you had different voices, it could really draw you into the models. But nonetheless, that one, despite it's still being somewhat antiquated sounding, it is a little punchier. And one of the things that I've really noticed when interacting with like the librarian as an example is the pronunciation seems a lot better. Like it's pronouncing authors' names and things like that pretty well. So I don't know how that's happening, if they're drawing on a better dictionary of pronunciation or just the text-to-speech engine is much better at that. But just it says the pronunciation is pretty spot on, it seems, in a lot of cases. So obviously you'd have to take it through some rough terrain to figure that out. But yeah, definitely kind of interesting. Okay, now that we've kind of like looked at those kind of things on our typical A-Lady, I want us to step outside and look at third-party vendors that are really doing some amazing things. Okay, now on my iPhone, I have the iOS app, OpenAI's ChatGPT. Now, I was having some trouble trying to get this audio out onto a nice clear recording so you guys could hear it. So actually, the best way I found is to go into the settings and just where you can choose the different voices and it plays a little sample. Now, otherwise, you would typically go in here where you don't have to type a prompt or a query, but you could hit a button where you just verbally interact with it back and forth, just like the A-Lady. Now, which is kind of mind-blowing, but the quality of the voices, I think, really can help suck you in, along with the conversational things that we're hoping will be coming to the A-Lady here in the future. But check out this voice. So here's a few of the voices. There's only a handful of them, but they're pretty staggering.
Hello, I'm really excited about teaming up with you, and I'm all set to dive in. So how can I make your life easier?
Isn't that amazing? Check this one out.
Hi there. I just want to share how thrilled I am to work with you, and I can't wait to get started. So what's the game plan?
Here's another.
Hey there. I've got a really great feeling about us teaming up. How can I jump in and help?
Hey, it's great to meet you. How's your day going? I'm really looking forward to working on some cool stuff together.
Okay, and I think this might be the last one.
Hey, I'm ready to hit the ground running. So if there's anything you'd like me to focus on first, just...
Okay, so there we go. That kind of cut off a little bit. I'm probably hit something. But anyway, let me shut that off here. So anywho, so pretty amazing there. Sorry for a little other voices coming at me. I have so many voices I'm trying to record and give you guys samples of. So really pretty amazing. So I think when you combine that really natural voice, now some of those seemed a little more punchy. I think they were told to be especially enthusiastic or bright. But really, if you go in there and play with it and get kind of a sample of content and maybe have it read something back to you, the certain level of emotionality it puts into the phrasing and things like that is pretty amazing. Pretty natural sounding. Very, very reminiscent of maybe what we played along with Call Annie. Although I think this is much better. It's very, very clear. So anyhow, these are just some kind of neat things I thought I'd share with you, the audience, of hopefully some things we'll see in the future. Hopefully maybe we can buy these voices or they'll come to our Echoes on free, or who knows exactly what. But of course, Amazon kind of told us that it's kind of coming. So very, very interesting. Now, if you have thoughts or suggestions for me in a future episode, by all means, or whatever you'd like to share your thoughts, you can do so on Facebook or Twitter, now known as X, at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys. And you can even reach out to me via email, which is info@goodwillvalleys.com. And just in the subject line or in the post, in either case, just earmark it for the New Vision program or for Dave of the Echo Tips podcast, and it will find its way to me. Well, until next time, it's time to turn the ears back on your Echoes, start practicing some of the many, many things that you've learned. I'm David Ward for the New Vision program, and we do thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dave. Let me tell you a bit more. Let me put on my official sounding voice. Ahem. Ahem. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Phew! Thanks for listening.